And we're back in studio, Josh and Bucky, and going to the national stage for sports. Big news out of the weekend was the Battle of Alberta. It's been an up and down season for hockey fans in this province, but there have been flashes of brilliance from both teams, and there was an exciting game to be watched on Saturday.
Yeah, I think at least the first 20 to maybe 30 minutes of that game, that was some of the best hockey to watch. And if you're old school and you like a little bit of rock and sock and kind of hockey, that's what you got on Saturday in Calgary. Disappointment for the Oilers. They had a good start. They really had a good 40 minutes, and their last 20 was disappointment. And that last 20 almost seemed to carry them over to Sunday's game against Vegas. Vegas comes into Edmonton, and they just rolled the Oilers. It leaves many wondering, what do they do next? And Peter Chiarelli, you know what? You're almost wondering if he is giving the right pieces to the head coach to work with, because really all the Oilers scoring is coming from 4 players, and that's it. You can't win in the NHL like that. And right now they're in a weak Pacific Division. This is their chance to move up, and their next 8 games are pretty well against Pacific Division rivals. If they don't go on a good run here, their season could be buried quickly.
Absolutely. They really have been, they've been buried, it feels like, over the past 6 years with just continuous poor defensive play. And they've never really drafted that number 1 or number 2 defenseman that they hoped could sort of anchor the defense. They have some talent back there, but they've never really had that number 1, number 2 guy. And they've lost the depth, as you said, that they had on offense 2 years ago. Yeah,
and they've lost the depth. They don't have secondary scoring. Their defense don't move the puck up to the forwards that need it. They're getting shaky goaltending from what's supposed to be their number 1 goalie. Their number 2 is now their number 1.
A problem that both teams have had, unfortunately.
Yeah, Mike Smith has looked shaky at best for the Calgary Flames this year. So you wonder if goaltending is going to get fixed on either side, the Flames or the Oilers side. And they always say Thanksgiving in the U.S., which is coming up this week, if you're not in the top 8 in the West or the East, and if you're not in a playoff spot, you won't make the playoffs. So the Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers, you got to giddy up.
Giddy up, and I'm sure plenty of people are saying giddy up after the Calgary Stampeders won on the weekend against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That was the more competitive game of the two. The Ottawa Red Blacks not having much difficulty against Hamilton. Yeah,
and you saw Hamilton play against BC in the semifinal, and Hamilton just steamrolled BC. And then you kind of thought it would be a good game between Hamilton and Ottawa, and that game was over quick. It was close at halftime. Become the third quarter, Ottawa took control and never looked back. Trevor Harris had an outstanding game, a record 6 touchdown passes. Now Ottawa goes against Calgary up at Edmonton. How many Edmonton fans are going to cheer for the Stampeders? I doubt it. A lot of pressure on the Stampeders. They've been at this game before. 2 years ago, they locked up with Ottawa in the Grey Cup, had a great game, lost it overtime, and again, disappointment for the Stampeders. They can win during the regular season, but they've been criticized for not winning that big game. Stampeders have to win on Sunday.
Absolutely, and I think we will see a lot of Calgary fans at least make the trek.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of Eskimos fans or Riders fans, because there's going to be a lot of fans coming in from Saskatchewan. Yeah. They will not cheer for the Stampeders.
No, but I know I will be, as I always do. And a last note, of course, the Rustlers women's volleyball team losing for the first time this season at home in somewhat surprising fashion to the Kings Eagles. They now have just 2 matches left this semester, so we'll get to see that on the weekend. I'm really curious to see how they respond. Thank you, Bucky, for being in, as always. We'll have more on Prime Time coming up next.